today's CFNC Wednesday webinar, part of the Spring 2015 series. I hope everyone is staying nice and warm on this very cold day in North Carolina. I'm very excited to be here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is entitled Assess Yourself, Career and Interest Inventory. On your screen is information for dialing in if you would prefer webinar audio via your telephone. Of course, you're welcome to use the microphone and speakers on your computer if that is easier for you. I've also included here the control panel. During the webinar, each of you will have a control panel probably on the right of your screen. I wanted to provide some information so that if you want to get rid of the fullness of that control panel, you can hide it by using that orangish red arrow. If you'd like to put the presentation in full screen mode on your computer, then you can do that with the button that's right below that arrow. If at any point during the webinar you are experiencing technical difficulty or need assistance, please feel free to raise your hand electronically using the hand with the arrow on it. And then also during the webinar today, we invite you to submit questions or comments. As we go through, perhaps we'll talk about things and you have tried some of the activities that we will talk about and you want to share that information with others, please feel free to post text questions and comments in the questions or chat box. At some point during the webinar, or various points during the webinar, I will pause to see if there are any questions. And if at any point you feel like you would like to verbalize a question or comment, then you can raise your hand, and I will acknowledge you so that you can, so that you'll be able to do so. My name is Gwen Rolak. I am with the CFNC Pathways team. Our organization that we'll talk about in just a moment. One of those partners is the UNC General Administration. With CFNC, I am the Director of Professional Development, and in addition to delivering webinars like I'm doing today, I also deliver in-person professional development, primarily to school counselors and career development coordinators, but also college access professionals, for example, those with Gear Up or the College Advising Corps. And really any person, any educator whose charge or mission is to work with students around college access and college success. I often have delivered professional development programs for those individuals on the use of CFNC resources in their work. As I mentioned previously, CFNC is a partnership. In addition to the UNC system, the partnership also includes all of the independent colleges and universities in North Carolina, as well as the community college system. The Department of Public Instruction, our K-12 system, is another key partner. And then College Foundation Incorporated and the State Education Assistance Authority are partners who work with the NC 529 College Savings Program that you may have heard about. These groups administer a loan portfolio for the state. These 6 partners came together in 2000 with the mission to increase the college-going rate among North Carolina citizens. And that mission remains at the front of the work that CFNC does, but increasingly we're also wanting to think not just about college access or college going, but also college completion, that students find success and actually earn a credential or a degree once they have entered college. A few statistics here related to CFNC.org in terms of number of accounts created and college applications that have been submitted. We are at CFNC the exclusive application for our 58 community colleges in North Carolina. And then you can also see here that 1.6 million electronic high school transcripts have been delivered. North Carolina students are able to deliver their transcripts electronically to in-state colleges as well as several in-state scholarship programs as well. The CFNC.org account is a free account that students can begin as early as 6th grade, and then they are able to use that account throughout their middle school years, their high school years, their college years, and even into their careers in life after college. The nice thing is that the account does belong to the student, So if a student transfers from one school to another, the student still has access to the CFNC account and is able to go in and continue his or her portfolio and not lose any of that data. With the CFNC account, there are 5 tabs, and you can see those tabs here. The My CFNC tab is a portfolio tab, and essentially students have access to 4 different portfolios: high school planning portfolio, college planning, career planning, and the financial portfolio. And students, as they are completing various tasks related to each of these areas, they're able to save that work in their CFNC portfolio. I spoke earlier today with a school counselor who wanted to go ahead and have her students use the high school planning tab to input their high school courses so that they could make a plan for 9th through 12th grade. So lots of different ways that it might be used. As students complete career assessments, they're able to save those results to their career planning portfolio. Under the Plan tab, similar items here where you have high school, college, and career with several different assessments and tasks that students can complete in that planning process. Under the Apply tab, students can apply to North Carolina colleges. We also include Apply for Financial Aid because we found that many students think that they need to submit their financial aid documents through CFNC. And so we've provided, under our Apply for Financial Aid link, links out to the FAFSA site. So if students do come to CFNC.org and try to apply for financial aid, they will be directed to the correct FAFSA.ed.gov website. Students and especially parents are really interested in the Pay and Save tabs because typically it's the parents who have the greater number of questions about paying for college. And under the Pay tab, information is there about scholarships as well as financial literacy information. And then the Save tab focuses on the 529 college savings program. Today we're going to be talking about the career and interest inventories that are available on the CFNC website. And because I've seen a few others join us, I just would like to say again that if at any point you have a question or a comment, please feel free to post that question in the questions or chat boxes. You can also raise your hand electronically and be recognized if you would like to ask a question or make a comment verbally. So as we look today at the assessments that are on the CFNC.org website, there are 9 different assessments. And on the website, we feature over 2,000 career profiles that will allow students to engage in a process-based career development planning. One of the questions that students need to answer is, who am I? So their self-assessment is an important part of process-based career development. As students begin to, what is my personality? What do I value? What are my aptitudes or skills? What am I interested in? All of those types of questions. And then also career exploration is an important part of that. As students begin to figure out more and more who they are, they also might have the question, where am I going? And so the career exploration with the career profiles that are available on CFNC.org is a major component of that. The career key is one assessment that's on the site. We're going to take a look in a moment at all of the different assessments. The career key combines elements of each dimension here: personality, values, aptitudes, and interests, and will then offer a list of suggested career matches that students might further explore. The other 8 assessments on the site really do hone in on measuring one dimension. For example, the assessment may just measure values. And like I said, we're going to take a look in a moment at those different assessments. So on the website, there are interest assessments. You can see here the navigational steps. The Plan tab, just a moment ago we looked at those 5 tabs. The Plan tab is orange. Students or anyone who's taking the assessment or wanting to get to the assessment would click the Plan tab for a career, learn about yourself, and then the Career Cluster Survey is one interest assessment, and the Interest Profiler is a second one that students might use to explore their interests and careers that match those interests. There's even an elementary version of the interest profiler on Pause and Jobland, and that interest assessment is called the Job Finder. Within it, there are 26 questions about students' likes and dislikes. We won't look at that one today, but Pause and Jobland does not require that students have an account, so any student could just go out and answer those 26 questions about their likes or dislikes, and then also receive some suggestions for further career exploration. Personality assessments on the site include the Learning Style Inventory as well as the Do What You Are assessment. When it comes to work values, anyone who's worked with teenagers or high school age students, you probably already know that the thing they value more than anything, or at least that they say they value more than anything, is the salary or how much money they can make with a particular career. This particular assessment is a way to help students begin to understand other values that they may have that they have not fully acknowledged or even recognized at this point, and how those values might impact their career planning process. When it comes to skills, there are 3 different assessments on CFNC related to students measuring their skills. There's a basic skills survey. There is a timed assessment called the Ability Profiler, and then there is a transferable skills checklist where students are able to think about the skills they already have and how those might work in several different careers. Within the skills surveys, there's also a nice connection to academic disciplines. For example, when we look later at the Ability Profiler, we'll be able to see that many of the core subjects that students are taking in school are, the questions are related to those core disciplines. So think about literacy, math, critical thinking skills. These assessments measure some of those skills. It's also a great way for students to understand what skills they already have, they currently possess, and the skills that they still need to develop that would enable them to pursue the careers in which they're most interested. Before I go to that slide, I'm actually going to go out and I want to share with you all one document. Those of you who have a Professional Center account, you may already have seen this document, but essentially this is a PDF and it's available if anyone would like it. I'll provide my email address. I'm happy to send it to you. And it's a summary of the 9 different career assessments and interest inventories that are available on the website. Information about the duration, so how long is this going to take, which could be very important if you are working in a school with students and you may have a limited, I know you have a limited amount of time during which you would actually be able to work with them to know about how long each assessment would take. The nice thing, though, is even if students don't finish a particular assessment, they can save their work and then come back to it at a later time. So it may be that students begin something in school and maybe have to finish it another day at school or even finish it at home. So with the interest profile of the career cluster survey, you see the time that would be required to take each assessment. You'll also notice as I just kind of scroll through here on the right, a description of what the assessment actually measures to give you some ideas about what students would learn about themselves if, in fact, they were to complete a particular assessment. For a couple of assessments, you'll even see, for example, with the Do What You Are, a recommended age range. So for the Do What You Are assessment, that assessment is more appropriate for high school students than for middle school students. But the Learning Style Inventory is an assessment that would be appropriate for middle school students through high school students. So again, this is just a helpful document that gives some information about each of the assessments, and I'm happy to send that to anyone who might have some use for that. What I'd like to do now is to go out to the CFNC.org website and take a look at several of the assessments. So as I mentioned earlier in the slides with the navigational steps, you would go to the Plan tab, which is the orange one, and click on For a Career. And once you've done that, the next page, the first option is Learn About Yourself. And then within this particular page, all 9 assessments are listed here. And so we're just going to peek into several of these to get an idea or a flavor of what some of the assessments look like. The interest profiler, we'll go ahead and click into that one first. In each of these, I should also mention that I have, in this sort of a fake account that I've set up for myself, I've completed each of the assessments just so that you would be able to see what the results page looks like, as well as the assessment questions themselves. So here we're going to just click continue. So one that I started looks like back in September. The interest profiler asks students, how would you like to, and then it will list a particular task. And students should very quickly select like, not sure, or dislike. When I used to conduct or have students complete this particular assessment, I would often encourage them not to think too hard about each of the questions. That as soon as they saw the question pop up, that they should go ahead and with their first, their gut instinct, whether or not they would like or dislike that particular task. And so you can kind of see how that would go on. There are 80 of these types of questions within the interest profiler. I'm going to go back so we can actually see what the results page looks like when someone has finished the task. So I'm going to click on my previous results, and you'll see here that my top interest areas are listed, artistic and social. There's a description of what artistic and what social means, so students would have that information, as well as a ranking of all of the 6 codes. You will recognize these as part of the Holland's codes. And so students are able, if they would like, to read descriptions of any of these particular codes. And then also able to view careers that match their top interest areas. So in this case, there are 45 careers that match both artistic and social within our database. And so this would be an opportunity then to go in and click on any particular career and learn more about it. So what does a choreographer do? Is this career for me? The skills that I would need for that career. What to learn has information about coursework that students might take in high school and college to pursue a particular career. The types of earnings and whether this job has a favorable outlook. Connections will link students to other websites and other ways of exploring information about a particular career. Interviews will link to information from people who are in this career, who have shared what it's like to be, in this case, a choreographer. And real-life activities connects academic core disciplines to a particular career. So there may be math questions or physics-related questions based on whatever career a student has selected. So I'm going to go back up to Plan for a Career to take a look at a couple of the other assessments. The Career Cluster Survey, about 15 to 25 minutes to complete the Career Cluster Survey. And this is essentially a series of checklists, and students would go through and select the activities that they enjoy doing. They would select information about their personal qualities, their favorite school subjects, and then be able to get results based on their answers as far as what their top career clusters might be. Human services is the top career cluster. And again, just like with the interest profile, there's actually a ranking of all of the options. So here we're talking about the 16 national career clusters. And so students' clusters are ranked from top to least based on their answers. If I click here on Human Services, there will be an opportunity to learn more about that particular cluster, as well as look at the careers that are within that career cluster. And so again, just another way for students to explore. Where you see the red circle out next to some of the careers, that indicates that there is additional information about that particular career. It might be an interview with someone who does that career, or it might be a blog that someone has written related to that career, so some additional information that students could explore. Going back out to the surveys themselves, the basic skills survey. is an opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, for students to figure out what skills they have and what skills they may need to learn. So under the Get Started, students would begin with reading comprehension, and essentially students would be indicating what they're capable of doing. So if you're working, let's say with high school students, it probably would be true that they would be able to do all of the tasks in level 1. They probably could do all the tasks in level 2, maybe even level 3. It would just depend on the student. And as they go through the task, they will get a results page that will show how they stack up in each of these different skills. And so you can see what those skills are here: monitoring, reading comprehension, active listening, writing, critical thinking, several of the skills that students need not only for academic work in school, but as we know that they'll also need for their future careers. And then based on their results, again, students are able to review matching careers, and below there are explanations of each of those 10 basic skills, and even some differentiation in terms of what is meant by low, medium, or high skill level within each of these areas. The transferable skills checklist is just that. This probably is an assessment that would be better for a student who is maybe age 6, has had a part-time job or has, and they've been able to actually build some on-the-job skills that they can then see how those skills that they've already learned can relate to a different career or relate to different interests that they may have. So under the results of transferable skills, you can see there are 115 matching careers for the skill areas where I said I had. And just again, students will be able to click, and they're in a ranked order such that I had 10 transferable skills. There's one career here, school psychologist, that matched 10 of those. And then there are some careers that matched 9 of my 10 transferable skills, so that students are able to get an idea of just how well certain careers may be matched to the skills that they have already developed. So again, the transferable skills checklist probably best for someone who already has started working, so 16 on into adulthood. The work value sorter I really enjoy because it's a brief assessment, and it is a way for students to think about something other than money. With this particular assessment, I'm going to actually go hopefully back to the beginning so you can sort of see how it would work. Students will have a series of cards, and so their task is to indicate how important each card or the words on each card really are to them. So in this one, on my ideal job, it is important that I make use of my ability. Students would click and drag that particular card to the area of the board that would make the most sense for them. Filling of accomplishment. There's only one card in this stack that deals with salary. And we know that that is, oftentimes important to students. They speak about that a lot. But again, as I said earlier, the thing I like about the work value sorter is that it allows students to think about what other values will be important in making a career an ideal working situation. And so once students have loaded all of the cards onto the board, they will be able to get their results. Students can also swap cards just by clicking and dragging to another area of the board. So once they've seen all 20, they may decide that certain elements are more important or less important than they had originally thought. Excuse me. So going back out, I'm going to take a look at the ability profiler. The ability profiler is a timed assessment, and it is lengthy. So this may not be one that students would be able to complete in one setting or one sitting at school. It may involve multiple visits or doing some of this at home. But with the ability profiler, once students have completed all of the timed sections, they'll get their results in several key areas. Top 10%, as you'll see here, for clerical perception and computation, above average in verbal ability, and then average in arithmetic, form perception, and spatial ability. And then the nice thing, too, as I've mentioned with others, is that there is a description of what each of those abilities means. Students are able to reflect on their results, say, does this sound accurate? Is this sort of, how I see myself? Just want to show briefly, let's go here, some of the questions. So here you can see some example questions for the arithmetic reasoning, for example. And again, as I said, each section is timed. The students, want to answer all of the questions, but they want to do so as quickly as possible. Excuse me, I do apologize. I'm losing my voice a little bit, and I apologize for coughing. All right, I'm going to go back out here and take a look at a few of the others. The Do What You Are and the Learning Style Inventory are two assessments that link out to a third-party site called Bridges. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Learning Style Inventory, and I'm going to get logged in here just a moment. And you'll see here that I have already started the Do What You Are and completed the Learning Style Inventory because it's saying here that I could view my report. Under Do What You Are, there are a series, there's a series of questions related to personality types, and then there's another set of questions related specifically to the different career clusters and how interested students might be in any of those particular clusters. Under the Learning Style Inventory, when students have answered a series of questions about their likes and dislikes, how they learn best, how they study best, the environment that is most conducive to learning for them, you'll be able to get this fairly extensive report. Here you see the summary chart. And the summary chart shows sort of a student's level of preference. So where you see the green area, it means the student actually has either a low or a high preference for a particular Again, I apologize for my voice today. For students have a preference for a particular area. In the gray area in the center, maybe there wasn't a clear preference, but a student might be leaning one way or the other. And then within each of those areas, for example, with sound preference, there is a fairly extensive explanation of what that particular preference means and some suggestions for how students might alter their environment or set up their environment to maximize their ability to learn. So for someone who prefers sound, for example, one of the first suggestions is to study in an open area, for example, a coffee shop, or to turn on the music in the study area. There are also suggestions about what not to do. For example, don't make the volume too loud, or maybe don't turn on the television because that might inspire you not just to listen but also to watch, and that could be a distraction. And so the report is fairly lengthy, but it gives students a lot of information that they could then use to plan their study time, their learning time, and also as an educator, it would give an educator a lot of information about how to help students structure their learning spaces to maximize their ability to do well. So that is a quick overview of several, I think all but maybe a couple of the career assessments that are available on CFNC.org and the types of results that students will get when they take those particular assessments. One of the things that I was starting to point out and want to make sure I stress is that as students are completing these assessments, their results are saved in their portfolio. And the nice thing about that is that educators who have a professional center account are then able to view students' results and really do a lot of planning around how to help students plan for career, plan for college, even plan for high school based on those results. So if you don't already have a professional center account, you can send an email to cfnc@northcarolina.edu. A PAC, or PAAK, that stands for Professional Account Access Key. That PAC code will enable you to set up your professional center account, and you'll link to your middle or high school. And once you've done that, you will be able to build reports, and we'll take a look in a moment at how to do that based on your students' data. And in talking with educators throughout the state, they've used a lot of the reports for a lot of different uses. One educator or several have talked about using the reports to plan their career fair in terms of knowing, what types of representatives you want to have at the career fair. I even have one educator who's planned a cluster fair, and I'm going to hopefully have her share some information about that later this spring once she's concluded all of those cluster fairs. You may have special career talks at your school, and the reports could be one way to help you know which students to invite to which talks. I have used the reports to plan field trips. For example, we were taking a field trip to Cisco. We could only take 20 students, and so to figure out which 20 students would be most interested in such a trip, some of the career assessments were a great way to figure out who to invite. It's also a great way to plan for high school courses. So course planning, college planning can also be accomplished with several of these assessment reports. So we're going to go out to the Professional Center, which is here. I'm already logged in to a CFNC training high school. So any student names that you may see as I do this demo are fake names. So no real students' data will be seen during the demonstration. So from the Professional Center, there are 5 main tabs. There's the Students and Groups, Reports, Resources, Communication, and Administration tabs. And for the sake of what we need to look at today, we're going to go under the Reports tab. And under the Reports tab, there are several options of different reports that an educator could build. We're going to go to Report Builder. And for purposes today, I'm going to click on a report on all students. When you're compiling these reports at your school, you may only be interested in your seniors or only interested in students whose last names are A through F. So you would be able to build groups and only capture a smaller segment of your student population. So you don't always have to build a report on all students. I'm going to confirm that I'm going to use this set of students. And then I think I'm going to build the work values sorter results. That's one of the assessments that we looked at a little bit earlier. And I'm going to put in last calendar year to see if there were some there's some data there for that. So based on this report, 279 students have completed the work values sorter at least once. That's out of a total of 723 students who have created fake accounts in this CFNC training high school. And then below the pie chart there that shows the percentages of students who have completed or not completed this particular assessment, you'll notice that the top work values are all listed out from greatest number of students to the least number of students. And then if you click on, for example, here the 241 next to achievement, which is the top work value for this group of students, you'll be able to actually see the names of students who fit within that particular work value, or who have that work value as their top choice. If you click on any individual student's name, it will take you to that student's portfolio, so that then you're able to see even additional data about that particular student. So you can see, their results for the work value sort. If they've completed additional activities within CFNC, you would also be able to see that information in their portfolio. So I'm going to go back to the Reports tab and just once again walk through those steps for creating the report. So under the Reports tab, you would click Report Builder, choose the students that you want to report on, confirm that group of students as the group that you would like to get results for. This time I'm going to just take a look at the Career Cluster Survey to see if any students have completed that particular survey. View and sort. And here we see that 5 students have completed the Career Cluster Survey. And again, you would be able to see from greatest to least in terms of number of students who completed a particular survey. And then you would also see which clusters are of greatest interest to students at your school. I do have one educator who said she was going to use this to help with planning which courses they needed to keep at their school and courses that maybe are not as of great interest to their students. So lots of different ways that you might use the data. One good thing that you need to bear in mind is that to have data, students must complete assessments. So, it may be that you want to have some times where all students are required or given time to complete particular assessments because you really want that data. They may need to do that at school so that you can ensure that it actually is completed. If there are other uses of the data that you found or want to share, again, please feel free to raise your hand to be acknowledged, or if you have a comment, you can feel free to post that in the chat or questions box, especially if there are unique uses of the data that you have experience with. And I'll continue to keep my eye on the chat box. So if those questions come up, please feel free. What now today is the Let Me Tell You video network that's available on CFNC. LMTY, there's probably over 2,000 videos of all sorts of people. For example, there are high school students, college students, people in specific careers, college professors, college admissions officers, all coming together within, Let Me Tell You, to offer near-peer advice to high school students. Let Me Tell You is a platform that we encourage students in grades 9 through 12 to use as they're planning for college and career. There are several video-specific careers and what the people in those careers do on a day-to-day basis. Those could be some of the videos that would be helpful for some of your students to watch. You can also, as an educator, upload your own videos. For example, I had someone ask recently, well, are there any videos on what students should wear for a job interview? And while I don't know if that particular video is in there, I had not looked for it. I said, if you wanted, I told the educator, if you wanted to create one, you could. And then through the Professional Center, be able to upload that video, and you can even assign that video specifically to students at your school if there's information that you want to get out to your students. We are planning a hands-on, Let Me Tell You, workshop to be held on the campus of UNC Greensboro on March 11th. So if you want it hands-on, actually developing a video network platform, then I encourage you to register for that workshop. You can do that at cfnc.org/events. We also often will offer webinars related to how to use the video network platform, and we have a couple of those recorded. So again, if there's anyone who would like access to a recorded version of the webinar, I can definitely share that information with you as well if you're thinking that Let Me Tell You could be something that would be really beneficial to your students. I also like to point out that CFNC has a number of posters and publications. You see here the Exploring Careers publication that could be useful to share with students and parents during any of your information sessions that you might be hosting. Those publications and posters are free, and I'll provide an email address again at the end so that if you would like to request any of those, you're able to do that. So again, before I close, just want to say that, you know, if students are planning for college, as they're planning for career, and even as they're planning, you know, while they're still in high school, maybe the ninth graders who are planning courses, several of the CFNC assessments could be valuable to them as they learn more about themselves and begin or continue that career exploration process by looking at the career profiles that are available at cfnc.org. I do thank each of you for your participation today, and I'll continue to monitor the questions and chat board as I share this information, some contact information with you. If you want to order publications, or if you have questions, perhaps you're using the website with a group of students, or you're trying to navigate something within the professional center, and you have questions, then you can definitely send an email to questions@cfncresources.org, or you can call our toll-free number, 866-866-CFNC. We have a resource center staffed and ready, with people ready to answer your questions. You can also reach out to me at any time. My email address and telephone number are provided there for you as well. So at this time, are there any questions, comments, ideas that you may have had? If you'd like, I can unmute you, and then that way you would be able to verbalize your question. When I go out now, I do see a question from someone. It says, are there any additional trainings or workshops on the assessment? That's a great question. We don't have any further ones planned currently. However, one of the things that I have often done and that I really enjoy doing are some of the face-to-face workshops. And so sometimes I've gone to a school district and met with, say, all of the career development coordinators, and we've actually spent hands-on time using the assessment. So I asked the CDCs or counselors or whoever may be participating in the workshop to actually create a fake student account, and then I have them go through and do some of the assessments just to increase their facility with the assessments, making sure they understand all of the instructions so that when they are presenting to a group of students, they've had quite a bit of experience, exposure to the assessments themselves. In those hands-on workshops, we also spend some time in the Pro Center. And again, ask the educators to build a fake Pro Center account for our training purposes so that they're able to actually go in and navigate, build specific reports, and then we do some analysis of, okay, what would you do with the data that this report has provided for you. So although we don't have another, perhaps workshop scheduled right now, I have offered and continue to enjoy offering on-demand workshops if a school or district is interested. I recently also did a work at Allegheny High School with all the teachers. So it's not just school CDCs, but in this case, all of the teachers were going to be implementing a lunch and learn period in their school day and wanted more information about how they could use some of CFNC's resources with their students during lunch and learn. So I hope that kind of answers it a little bit, but if there's other question or follow-up to that, then I'm definitely open to hearing that. I've gone ahead and unmuted you, so if there's anyone who would like to share something verbally, please feel free. If you want to mute yourself back on your end, then you can do that. But are there other comments or questions? Okay, well, at this time, I would like to first apologize again for the quality of my voice at various points during the webinar today, and I would like to again thank all of you for your participation in the webinar. And my hope is that at some point we'll be able to meet face-to-face, perhaps in a workshop or in a conference or something as we go forward. Thank you again. I hope you have a great afternoon. Please do stay warm today.